All right. If any of you don't know me, my name is Melissa Clark. I'm the Senior Director of Community Impact at United Way of the Dutchess Orange Region. And we have Rebecca Lull, who many of you know, does so much fantastic work and will be helping with today's session, our Community Engagement Manager. So for today, she will be monitoring the chat box. We will please hold your questions as much as possible towards the end, but we will make sure that we answer all of those, and we would prefer chat box as opposed to unmuting. We are recording this session, as you all received the notification when you joined. And today will be fairly informal. We will be recording the session so that it will be available afterwards. And if there are any folks that were not able to attend but want to watch this, they can do so. So I'm going to begin screen sharing, and I just want to thank you all again for coming. Okay, here we go. So as you all know, our mission statement, together we fight for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in our community. This is a look at our traditional community investment strategy. Of course, we have our funding process, and most recently for our community conversation, which I know many of you attended, we focused around remote learning loss and youth mental health. We are adding in a step before the official release of a request for proposal documents and after our community conversation, which is this letter of intent process, which we are going through today. We do plan to keep our funding priorities similar as they have been for the last couple of years. So you all can see these, and of course there will be tweaks to the request for proposal. However, we are keeping our strategies similar. And I did want to make a note that we recently went through a strategic planning process again to validate our strategy, and our donors did support the strategy that we have embarked on for the last 2 years. And like I said, this will be available afterwards, so I don't feel like you need to try to jot down everything. So this is our first year. It is our pilot year of our letter of intent strategy. The strategy was developed by our Community Impact Committee and accepted by our Board of Directors. Letters of intent are not required as it is year one, but they are recommended and strongly encouraged. And the reasoning behind this, I don't want to, I know it sounds like we're adding more work to all of your plates, but we're really trying to reduce that workload. So as part of United Way Worldwide strategy, we are focused around increasing equity. And one of those strategies was to reduce workload, especially for a lot of small nonprofits, and make sure that everyone really has ample opportunity to apply. So we're trying to make sure that both small and large organizations have those opportunities. Our intent is that this will save time in case submissions are not recommended, and also save time on behalf of our grants reviewers that go through and make the funding decisions. We also hope to encourage creative ideas. The reasoning is that should your organization put in a proposal that is not recommended to apply for the full submission, you all have been through the process for the most part, so you know that our full application process does take quite some time, and we are hoping to save that time on your behalf if it is not an appropriate fit. So really that is the intent of our letter of intent process. So you will be submitting each project in one online submission. So if you are applying to multiple programs, you will still be putting that in one online submission. Each proposal should be 300 to 500 words, which is awfully short. You know, that is just a couple of paragraphs. It's just an opportunity for you to select the appropriate category, project goal, and then demonstrate a quick overview and what the impact of your program is. Any technical questions, of course, are monitored on our specific email, ciinbox@uwdor.org. And our submissions are due on December 10th at 5 p.m. It is a form on our website. And like I said, should you have any technical questions, please email that CI inbox email. It is monitored daily. And of course, if you need to either of us on the phone, we are always happy to do so. So afterwards, each agency will receive a letter with recommendations on which programs are invited to apply by January 21st, 2022. They will also receive letters if programs are not encouraged to apply. These are written and developed by our Community Impact Committee. And these will be provided in advance of our mandatory meeting on January 25th. We will then launch our traditional request for proposal process in early February. This leads into our traditional community investment process, where we have our grants review process, and we have about 200 grants reviewers each year that provide the evaluation and scoring. We have our Community Impact Committee, which has our allocations process and makes the decisions around the amounts that are awarded to each program. And then, of course, it goes to our Board of Directors for final review to begin our new funding year on July 1st of 2022. And I do want to make a quick note of some of our other opportunities for partnership. We do have our year 2 of our 21-day equity challenge coming up as part of our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. So we hope you all can participate and spread the word about that. It was very successful last year, and we're always working on increasing equity in our community. We have our volunteer portal at volunteer.uwdor.org. And we have our Days of Caring, MLK Day, National Volunteer Week, Day of Action, 9/11 Day of Service, and Make a Difference Day. Rebecca manages a fantastic program, our Day of Sharing program. We offer curbside, we offer distance, we do offer our traditional Days of Sharing as well. In fact, we have one coming up this Friday, December 3rd, and I believe we have hopefully a couple spots still available. Rebecca can confirm in the chat box. And of course, we are serving families and children in crisis with many different items that are all new from our partners. So if you haven't attended a Day of Sharing, we encourage you to do so. And if you can't attend our traditional Days of Sharing or are not comfortable doing so, please reach out to Rebecca. We can arrange curbside. And our traditional Days of Sharing are certainly not like the before times. We don't have 100 folks in our building. We have 5 at a time. On January 25th, our mandatory meeting will be coupled with our nonprofit professional development program. We're very excited. We have a special partnership with United Way Worldwide for this iteration of our programming. We are going to be offering a human trafficking live learning session that is survivor-led. We will also have opportunities around human resources and grants writing and how to apply for funding. And just a quick reminder, we continue to have our tuition discount programs at Mount St. Mary College and Marist College. Of course, ALICE is a great place to go to for data and really illustrates the needs of our asset limited, income constrained employed individuals in our community. And like I mentioned, our community conversations, we have them annually. We recently focused around learning loss and youth mental health. And certainly you all know, if you have a question, to call 211. It is 24/7, 365, and can also be accessed online. We also have a specific eviction prevention program for Dutchess County residents through 211. And thanks to the partnership with all of you, we are able to impact the lives of 1 in 4 residents in our community, which is 232,000 people. So thank you all so much for everything you do on a daily basis. And I did just want to mention, I didn't have a slide in there, but please make note that we continue to have our Lyft rides available for Poughkeepsie and Newburgh residents. This is an ability to receive their COVID vaccine, shots 1, 2, or 3 for children and adults. A caregiver or parent could bring 5 children with them and they could all get their shots. And we provide round trip Lyft vouchers, which are about $50 a piece. And we also have a new economic barrier Lyft program in those vicinities as well. If anyone has an economic barrier related to receiving healthcare, food access, employment, anything like that, they can receive those Lyft codes. So that is the portion I wanted to go over. Like I said, it's a very short presentation and very informal, just to give you a sense of the reasoning behind our shift in strategy and what we are asking of you. So I will now open the floor for questions. So please type those into the chat box. Rebecca, do we already have any or?
Yes, we do. Do you want me to read them? Maureen is asking who reviews the LOIs. If you are not encouraged to apply for a submitted LOI, can you apply for a different project?
Sure. Yeah, so since it is not mandatory for this year, if you had put in a letter of intent and were not recommended but have a different idea, you are certainly welcome to submit a full proposal. That might change for next year, but for this year, we are not requiring them. So that is an option. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen because I think that will be easier for this part.
And Kim asked, will the meeting in January be remote?
Yes, that's a great question. It will be on Zoom.
If applying for multiple programs, the word limit 300 to 500, is that for each or for both?
Each. Good question.
And that's it for now.
Okay, please feel free. This is an open forum, so if you have questions, please just type those into the chat box. Okay, I can see them now. Thanks, Rebecca. So Laura, yes, just clarifying that multiple projects should be submitted in a single LOI. Yes, that is correct. So you will have one online form submission and you will put separately in that one submission each project idea. Each one, like we said before, is 300 to 500 words. So we're hoping this is not a huge lift. I know you are all so busy. You're doing so much amazing community work, and I know this is a definitely busy season for everyone. So just 300 to 500 words, and many of you have been previously funded. So just a quick narrative of what you've been doing. Let's see, we have another one. Is there a maximum number of collaborators per project? What is the max amount to ask for? Sure, good question. So all of so you're not going to be putting in dollar amounts or anything like that right now for the letter of intent. All of that will be more for the formal request proposal. So we're not asking you to submit really any budgetary information or anything like that. That's a great question. Traditionally, we have had a minimum or a maximum of 10,000 for new to United Way programs, and a maximum of 50,000 for those that have been previously funded. But that will be officially released in the request proposal, so I can't confirm if those will be the finalized amounts. But for now, it's just your ideas and the impact. Okay, so Muriel's one online submission for all projects. Can different projects have different collaborators? If we need a fiscal sponsor, do we need that identified before we submit letter of intent? We do ask, of course, that there is a 501c3 that is submitting, these, just like all of our, because at United Way, we can only provide funding to 501c3s. So there would need to be a 501c3 that is submitting. So I would definitely make sure that you have somebody that is submitting that is a 501c3. I guess that would be my best answer for that question. And in terms of different collaborators, if you were working with one organization who was a 501c3 and submitting, I don't see a reason why another one that you were working with that's another 501c3 couldn't also be a partner. And then another question about multiple projects should be submitted in one single LOI. Yes. Okay. Great. I think I got them all. If I missed yours, please feel free to copy paste it back in. And I will be remaining here. If I've answered your questions, you're certainly welcome to jump off. Like I said, this will be available afterwards, but you're welcome to stay on. I will be on, till 10. Is there a preference towards new projects versus existing projects or expansions? I would say there is no preference. The Community Impact Committee will be making all of those decisions. But we are just, like I said, adding this step in to ensure equity. These are all great questions. Thank you. Could a 501c3 from another county sponsor Dutchess County project? That's a great question. So the 501c3 would need to have a footprint in either or both Dutchess and Orange County. So it wouldn't be appropriate if the 501c3 did not work or perform programming in Dutchess and Orange, if that answers your question. So please feel free to ask away. This is your time to do so. And like I said, if all your questions have been answered, you're certainly welcome to go to your other 10 Zoom meetings today. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Liz. Uriel, great question. You're certainly welcome to do so. Let's just wait a few more moments in case anyone else has related questions to this first. Thank you. If two 501c3s partner and are able to meet two different project types, would that be okay? And if so, is there anything in particular that we need to do? There's no limit to how many, submissions you're able to put in. So that would, definitely be appropriate to apply for multiple. We have some funded partners that have a few different projects and programs with us that have received previous funding for years. And if your questions have been answered, you are more than welcome to jump to your next meeting or your inbox. Okay, great. And I know we will have a couple of unrelated questions to other, which I will stop recording for. So we're just going to give that a couple minutes, but you're welcome to stage, Joanne. Anyone else that's here have questions related to the letter of intent process? All right, I'll give you a couple more moments to ask those questions, and then I will stop recording and invite folks to ask any unrelated questions. And Caitlin, I saw that you just joined us. We have wrapped up the presentation and we are just asking any questions, but the recording will be available. Sure, go ahead. Can you put in the chat box, please? The form for the LOI is on the website. I do not see it. Okay, yeah, so it was sent in an email. I don't know, Rebecca, if you can put that in the chat box if you have it somewhere. So we are working on an audit, but it won't be done until March or so. Will that limit our ability to apply? The organization would need to be a 501c3. And the audit is it's not required for some organizations that are smaller. Certainly whatever financial statements you can provide, in the interim would be great. But I don't see that being an issue unless, there's something else you would like to speak to offline. Sure. So do we need to have a 501c3 by time of letter of intent? So the 501c3 would need to submit the letter of intent. If you are, however, I'm not the one that makes these decisions. I always want to say that. So if you, are going to be submitting with a 501c3 and for some reason they are not able to submit the letter of intent, you can certainly clarify that in your narrative and the Community Impact Committee will make that final decision. But my advice would be to have a 501c3 submit your letter of intent. And then Rebecca did drop that link in the chat box for the application, for the submission. I'm just going to give it a couple more moments, and then I know there's some other questions from other folks about other unrelated grants. Any of you that are here have letter of intent related questions you want to throw in the chat box? Great, thank you. If an organization is planning to get a letter of intent, could we apply? Yeah, sorry, having trouble understanding. Sorry. Okay, so if a 501c3 is planning to get, okay, if an organization is planning to get a 501c3, could we apply? I see. Yes, I mean, officially we wouldn't be funding, yes, I think that would be fine as long as you clarify that in the narrative and then the Community Impact Committee can make that final decision. Great, thank you. Giving another minute or so. Does anyone else that's on here have letter of intent related questions? All right, I don't see any other questions in the chat box. I'm going to stop recording and then I will stay on because I know some of you have some other questions. So thank you all so much.